Jose Altuve and the Astros battle Aaron Judge and the Yankees in Game 4 of the ALCS. You can catch it all right here at 7 Eastern on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. Time for us to go viral. Myles Garrett has lived up to his Superman nickname this season. His 9 sacks are tied for the league lead. He took to Twitter yesterday on the bye week and shared this story, tweeting, "A fan hopped out of his car to take a picture with me and then punched me in my face. Put your legs into it might have actually made me flinch." He added in the replies, "Was in my car, flagged me down for a picture, and I cracked the window enough for the camera to get my face, took the pic, and gave me a pillow tap." See, can you possibly pick a worse guy to fight?
Man, I just don't. I don't understand how he let someone get that close. I did have one bad experience when I was in Philadelphia. I was in a neighborhood I shouldn't be in, but I was going there trying to pick up something. And I had a really nice, I had a bedazzled Eagles cap, had it on sideways, and I was going down through this alley because that's where you had to get the stuff. It was like a stopping cop.
Yeah. Well, we got you.
Yeah, and dude snatched it off my head and ran and everything.
Well, that's better than that's better than a guy pretending to be a fan, asking for a picture, and then getting snuffed.
Yeah, that was hard for me to believe that someone punched him.
This is so the picture he's painted is he's driving, the other guy's driving. It's like, hey, roll down your window. So Myles Garrett stays in his car. This dude runs up to the side, takes a picture, and then hits him in the face. Is the guy? I just can't imagine the.
I would have had somebody follow him.
This is hard to believe.
I would have followed him, and then someone else would have met up with him at a later time, Nick.
That's also, you're not as nice of a guy as Myles Garrett. You've never claimed.
Didn't you see him taking those karate lessons this offseason?
Yeah,
you see him doing those box jumps and everything.
Yeah,
have you seen this guy?
Yeah. I understand it. He could have handled it a lot differently. He handled it like a gentleman. He just got snuffed.
I like it. All right. Time now for Stores to Start Your Morning, sponsored by Ram Truck.
Stop and cup.
Built to
We knew what you were saying,
All-Pro cornerback Jalen Ramseys.
Well, you did.
We shipped out west. Too late now, too late now. He's out to the Rams, and head coach Sean McVay says the goal is for Ramsey to suit up Sunday against Julio Jones and the Falcons. So, can Ramsey immediately make an impact?
What I would be very careful. He's been out the last several weeks playing in the dome in Georgia. It's a fast track, new arena there. Those domes get hot, so the humidity. Is he in the physical shape that we're used to seeing Jalen Ramsey? Now, he's the guy, high school, college, and the pro, very, very durable. He's the best, #1 guarding the guy, even over Stephon Gilmore, because he's got more athletic ability than Stephon Gilmore. But I would play him on one side of the field. I wouldn't play him on Julio. I wouldn't have him travel with him.
That's what I wouldn't maybe even consider having him consistently be on the #2 and just double Julio the whole game. Just say, because I don't think, listen, Jalen at full strength in a system he knows with having played the last month, Julio is still the single toughest matchup in football. And so even in those conditions, this would be tough for him. In these conditions, even more so.
And I can guarantee you, next time Jalen faces Julio, Jalen's one of those kind of guys that, coach, I want to guard him the whole game.
Yep.
Now, he's not in that type of situation. Just getting to the Rams. No need to be selfish. I believe Wade Phillip comes up with a great game plan, though.
Glad the nice Southern California air fixed that back that had been hurting him the last few weeks.
Absolutely, man.
All of a sudden, it loosened up on me. That flight, that cross-country flight got me good.
Saquon Barkley was a full participant at Giants practice yesterday. The Pro Bowl running back hasn't played since week 3, but should be good to go Sunday against the Cardinals. See, how much does this help Daniel Jones?
Oh, this helps Daniel Jones an awful lot. We saw last week the other team in New York. They added a quarterback. Giants should be feeling the same way by adding Barkley, putting him back in the lineup. I believe the Giants did the right thing by this player. High ankle sprain, especially for skilled guys, because you get tackled so much around your ankles, you can re-aggravate it. A couple weeks ago, he looked good in practice. I'm glad they let him sit. Daniel Jones is the happiest guy in New York City now, because not only does it open up the running game, but it opens up that play-action pass that he's really good at with that big arm, Nick.
And by the way, we haven't been able to see Daniel Jones in a full game with Saquon. Saquon got hurt in that first Daniel Jones start. this NFC East, we are treating it as a two-team race, and right now we should with Philadelphia and Dallas. But I want to see how the Giants look this weekend, see what happens to the Philadelphia-Dallas game, because assuming Philly-Dallas doesn't end in a tie, the Giants with a win are going to be in second place, one game out of first place near the midway point of the season, with the best player on their team coming back and coming back fresh, which I think could make them at least a pseudo factor in that division.
A running back headed in the opposite direction is Alvin Kamara. He missed Saints practice yesterday with knee and ankle issues. He's questionable for Sunday. So, do the Saints need him to take down the Bears?
Oh, no, absolutely. The reason why Teddy Bridgewater was as effective as he wasn't because of Michael Thomas, wasn't because of their tight ends and other wide receivers. It's because Sean Payton knows he's got one of the most versatile running backs in the league. Screen passes, out of the backfield passing, move him out the wide receiver passing. He's been phenomenal running the ball between the tackles. We thought he was only going to be a third down back when he came into the league out of Tennessee. He's been everything but that. He's been sensational. They need him. Outside of Michael Thomas and Drew Brees, he's their most important offensive player.
And I would argue when Drew Brees is out, he jumps Michael Thomas and becomes the most important offensive player because you can hand him the football. Here's the only thing I'll say about New Orleans and their chances without him. New Orleans in the entire Drew Brees era prior to this year was 1-17 when they didn't score 14 points. Since Teddy's taken over, they're 2-1 in that circumstance. What does that mean? Their defense is as good as it has ever been.
They got a complete team.
And when you are playing the Chicago Bears offense, this might be a race to 10. And so I do think that the Saints are a live dog even if Kamara doesn't play.
All right, let's get to some hoops. LeBron and the Lakers are just 5 days away from their first game of the year. The King dropped 11 assists in some preseason action last night against the Warriors. Could be a new look for LeBron headed into year 17. Nick, what is the Lakers' ceiling this season?
Oh, dominate and win a championship. I mean, that's the ceiling. They've got the best duo in the league. They have the best big man in the league. I believe they still have the best player in the league, but he's not currently wearing the crown. He would have to go snatch that back from Kawhi or Giannis, depending on who you think currently has it. Kevin Durant maybe says, what about me? Well, Kevin Durant maybe can snatch it back himself a year from now. But this Lakers team is going to present enormous problems for so many teams because they are so enormous. This is the point you made this morning, C. I mean, if you remember the story of when he came back to Cleveland and they traded for Mozgov. David Griffin tells the story, how excited LeBron was seeing Mozgov in the hotel lobby. Because he's like, oh my, he's such a big guy.
What do you like, LeBron?
Right, he's 7'2" is what I like. He's big. And so I am a little more bullish than most on what Dwight can bring to this team. I think everyone is adequately optimistic about what Anthony Davis is going to bring to this team. And I think you're going to see a fresher LeBron James even in year 17 than we saw at the beginning of last season or even the year before, because this is the least basketball he's played in a year in his entire NBA career. So I think the Lakers, their ceiling is to be the best team in basketball.
I just think in theory, I'm not discrediting your point. In theory, we think because LeBron played less basketball that he's going to be fresher. But I just think the challenges of you're not the greatest player. Anthony Davis is now in town, and now we're not doing triplets. We're only doing duets. So I think all those things right there, because even if LeBron had made it to the playoffs last year and they lose in the first round, I still think we still see the same guy. Now, we know his body should be fresher. You know that all great athletes, Kustak, are looking for some type of challenge. He's been issued that. With Kawhi winning last year, the Kawhi turning down the Lakers, going to the Clippers in the same building there. So this should be an exciting year. I do think their overall height has not been something in the NBA that we have talked about the last decade. But I do believe in this season, because the way the talent is dispersed around the league and they have the adequate shooters, with LeBron at the point, who guards him? Like, if people say, well, who's better, them or the Clippers? Well, who's Kawhi going to guard? Who's Paul George going to guard? Because there is no answer for Anthony. We can debate all these things. Is there an answer for Kawhi? Yes. Is there an answer for Paul George? Is there an answer for LeBron? Yes. But there is no answer for Anthony Davis in the NBA. And to me, he should be in the conversation of the greatest players, him and LeBron, and having both of them there and the style for which they're going to play, I think it's going to be very exciting.
What's your level of concern about, it's not even concern, but their defense and what they're going to do defensively? Because you talk about who's going to guard LeBron, how do other teams match up against them, especially with their size and also with LeBron James, a player of his caliber in the versatility he brings to the table. But that's a factor. The defense is a factor. How concerned are you heading into the season, the early part, understanding the favorable schedule?
And that's the marriage between that coaching staff, Frank Vogel and Jason Kidd, coming up with the system. Because right now, there is no intermediate basketball game as far as jump shots. So when you have the lineup that they have, all we got to do is overguard the three-point line. We're going to overguard the three-point line. We're going to give them the intermediate jump shots, because who's going to be challenged at the rim night after night? So with their size and with Dwight and the way he's playing and the way that he's looking at life, with no type of guarantees on this type of contract, he's had a sensational training camp. Him and Anthony Davis and JaVale McGee being at the rim in a rotation, like, to me, I don't see another team that presents that. So how good do I have to be when I only have to get them off the three-point line? I'm trying to funnel them into the painted area. There's not a lot of teams that have that luxury.
The biggest concern for the Lakers defensively is going to be guarding point guards, and that can be tough in the Western Conference, where you just have a plethora of great point guards. If they are going to start LeBron essentially at the point, especially with Kuzma out, then you have to. Then whenever LeBron's playing point, Avery Bradley has to be on the court, and Avery Bradley has to guard the other team's point guard, and that is asking Avery Bradley to do something he has not been able to do the last few years, which is stay healthy and be the player he once was in Boston. Because we've talked about what their crunch time lineup's going to be of LeBron, Avery Bradley, Danny Green, Kuz when he gets back, and Anthony Davis. And that lineup should be sensational offensively. But there's only one guy. You can say, I'll have Danny Green do it. Well, Danny Green's your best perimeter defender. Danny Green is your guy to guard wings. That's my concern for them defensively. And the one other concern, just quickly for me, is how often will Frank Vogel be able to convince Anthony Davis to play the 5? Because we can talk about how important the size is, and I agree with you, but they are better off with that lineup I just mentioned than one of those people being out and JaVale McGee or Dwight Howard being in alongside AD.
And Frank Vogel, I'm glad you got to a coaching point. Kustok, historically, he's been a guy that does not like to switch to pick and roll. And that's been one of his bugaboos. Would he be able to coach in this new NBA? Does he compromise? And we're going to be able to see that very, very early. You can see them now. They're starting to switch everything, especially with LeBron being at the point you have to do that. So let's just watch as these players try to gel, and this staff, which there's going to be a lot of talk about the staff. Let's see this staff, if they create something to help this team play the type of defense that we know that they're going to need.
I do think, because for as much scrutiny is on this staff and the way in which they come together, they got a lot of good basketball minds on the staff. So if they are able,
it's a good start
to acclimate themselves to each other. But that's the big question that we get to. All right, on to Thursday Night Football on Fox. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs taking on the Broncos. Denver's head coach Vic Fangio first became an NFL coach back in 1986, 9 years before Mahomes was born. So when Fangio compared Mahomes to a Hall of Famer, I guess you could say carried a lot of weight.
I think he's